Hello, awesome students. My name is Ms. Morales, and I'm going to be your teacher for the next 4 weeks. So welcome to the course called Fundamentals of Rounding Three-Digit Numbers. Now, let's begin with introducing Lesson 1, Basics of Rounding Three-Digit Numbers. Let's begin by describing what is rounding. So rounding is a mathematical function that replaces a number in a simpler form. For example, number 15 rounded to the nearest tenth is 20. Now, let's discuss the two different types of rounding. In rounding any number, boys and girls, we will either have to round up or round down. Now, when you're rounding up, the number given gets replaced with a higher number, just like the example in the previous slide. And when we round down, we replace a given number with a smaller number. Next, let's look at keywords to look in a math problem so that you can recognize other words that mean exactly the same as the word rounding. The most common words are best estimate, approximately, closest to, and nearest to. Now, when rounding to the nearest tens place, which numbers should we look at, boys and girls? We should look at the number in the ones place, because this is the number that's going to help us determine if we will have to round up or if we will have to round down. Now, let's look at a place value chart. We will need to use one to look at numbers closely and label your three-digit numbers. Here, the O stands for the ones place, the T stands for the tens place, and the H stands for the hundreds place. Now let's go over basic rules when rounding to the nearest tenth. We must focus our attention to the number in the ones place. If the number in the ones place is smaller than 5, then we will round down. But if the number in the ones place is bigger than 5, then we will round up. So we have to be very careful and pay attention to the numbers in our place value charts, boys and girls. For example, in the number 117, number 1 is in the tens place. 1 is smaller than 5, but number 7 is in the ones place and it is bigger than 5, so we must round up. So 117 rounded to the nearest tenth is 120. Now let's work on some examples. Let's begin our lesson 1 practice, boys and girls. So for this practice, I'm just going to do 2 quick examples, and these should be able to help you to complete your assignments. So let's begin with number 1. Round the number 235 to the nearest tenth. Let's first begin by drawing our place value charts. I'm going to go ahead and set it up for both of the problems. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start labeling. So ones, tens, and hundreds. So for our first example, boys and girls, we have the number 235. So we can go ahead and place it in our chart. So 2 goes in the hundreds, 3 goes in the tens, and 5 goes in the ones. So remember, boys and girls, for this lesson, we're not going to worry about finding the answer. We're going to worry about if we're going to have to round up or if we're going to have to round down. So when rounding to the nearest 10, we're going to focus on the number in the ones place. In this case, the number is 5. So 5 is equal to 5. When you have a number that is greater than or equal to 5, we know that we're going to have to round up. So the answer to the first problem is round up, boys and girls. Now, going to problem number 2, round the number 463 to the nearest tenth. So let me start by labeling my place value chart, ones, tens, and hundreds. And then we're going to put our number into each category. So 4 in the hundreds, 6 in the tens, and 3 in the ones. So now remember, to round to the nearest tenth, we only look at the number in the ones place. So in this case, it's a number 3. and number 3 is smaller than 5. So then with that said, we know that we will have to round down, boys and girls. So the answer to this question is round down. And that is it, boys and girls. I hope with this lesson you're able to complete your assignments. Remember, if you have any questions, you can email me. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week in lesson 2.